Hello YouTubers, time for another record collection update video. After my series of 5 videos about dance band music, I can assure you now that, this video will not be about dance band music. I'm going to show you some records that one that I found in a flea market that, led to something I didn't expect. Another record that I bought on an auction, and some records I bought on a trip to Uppsala, and also some records that I bought today that I haven't listened to yet, but thought I'd show you anyway. Well, let's start with a goodie. I went to flea market, I had some other errands, but I went inside the local flea market called Myrorna and had a look. Found some fairly decent, interesting records. One of them, I was a bit, am I going to get it or not? I thought, I should get it. And the record I was checking was this one, Closer by Melba Moore, and from 1980. I have some other of Melba Moore's albums, and I'm very fond of them. She's a great singer, great artist, and so I bought it. And some of you might know that I have an Instagram account, and I tend to upload pics of records that I'm currently listening to. My Instagram account comes here on my shirt now. Fancy schmancy. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't upload all the records I listen to, but some. And this is one of them that I uploaded, and I tagged, as you do. I tagged it with Melba Moore, and I tagged it vinyl, and thought no more about it. Until next morning when I woke up and I saw that I got some comment on that image. So I went and had a look. And what did I see? Well, I saw this.
Oh my God!
Love from the Real Melba Moore. I didn't expect that, of course. Thank you, Melba Moore. She is probably keeping a good eye on her fans who's listening to her records. And from what I could see from her own Instagram account, she seems to be very active, still performing, still looking very young, despite the fact that this album is almost 40 years old. You do the maths yourself, and she had already been an artist for quite some time. Anyway, so that was very nice, of course, and a thing that I definitely didn't expect. But it was on last Monday, and last Monday was a rough day, so it was a nice thing to bear with you. So today, when I went to the city, I found another Melba Moore album that I didn't have, so I'm going to upload that to Instagram when I play it as well, to see if I have another reaction. Right, and it was the real Melba Moore, the official Instagram account, so it wasn't fake. Quite nice. The next record that I'm going to show you is probably a record that most of you are familiar with, but I haven't had it until now. And I'm not really a super big fan of the artist, although he's all right. It is the song that I'm very fond of, and it's a very famous song that I'm sure you all are familiar with. And I'm talking about Johnny Nash. I Can See Clearly Now. One of these songs that, just lifts up my heart every time I hear it, and I've heard it so many times in so many different versions. I don't think Johnny Nash's version was the first. Did he write this? Not sure. Actually, not sure about that. I don't know. but it's the earliest and probably the most famous version that I know of. So when I found it at an auction, I grabbed it for next to nothing and happy to have it. Okay, over to some records that I found in Uppsala. First, we have one album that I've been looking for quite some time because it's quite rare, and it's the album B som i Britta by the Swedish singer Britta Borg. Very active in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and well, 70s. Often cooperating with the Swedish entertainment legend Povel Ramel. This is it's on the Povel Ramel's own record label Knäpp Upp. It's from 1960, and it's the KLP4, so it's the fourth album on the Knäpp Upp label, and you don't see these often. Actually, I've never seen it before. I knew what it looked like, but I've never seen it before. And I was happy to find it, and it's in excellent shape for being almost 60 years old. Oh, 1960, soon 60 years old. That's amazing. Right, over to another record that I've been wanting for quite some time by the Swedish jazz rock group Made in Sweden. That made some really great albums in the late 60s. This is their second album. I think it's their second. Snakes in a Hole. Snakes in a Hole. Snakes in a Hole. From 68 or 69, I think. Jojje Wadenius on electric guitar. Bosse Häggström on electric bass. And Slim Boljud on drums. A very great playing band. I've been a great admirer of Jojje Wadenius, the guitar player, since I was a kid, and I know many others who are. I mean, he had a long, successful career. Well, still goes on. I don't think he has retired. I still see him perform now and then on TV and on different clips here and there. Some of the other Made in Sweden albums from the late 60s have been reissued, or at least one of them. Not sure. I hope the others are reissued because they are a bit difficult to get hold of in great shape, and they tend to be a bit pricey. This was probably the most expensive record that I bought in Uppsala. Okay, I'd like to warn you, those of you who are a bit sensitive, but I'm going to cover bits of it. It's a record by a band called Heta Linjen. They made 2 albums, and they had the great drummer later Janne Loffe Karlsson, and the keyboard player and arranger and composer Bernt Egelblad. Also, they had Bengan Karlsson on guitar and some other musicians, can't remember them all. They made one great album in 1970, I think, called Won't You Step Inside. I've had that for a couple of years. Then, the year later, they added lots of members to the band, and lots of not just jazz rock as before, but also some comedy. And the comedy was mostly done by Janne Loffe Karlsson, that already by then, even though he hadn't had his big breakthrough as an actor yet, showed his great comedy talent. And also the late great singer Kisa Magnusson, if we should make that kind of comparison, Sweden's answer to Janis Joplin. We shouldn't really, but there's some Janis Joplin feeling around her and her voice, and also she makes she has made several covers of Janis Joplin songs, and one is included on this album, Mercedes-Benz. But also the great jazz standard that I'm so fond of, Cry Me a River. Yeah, oh, you're right. I'm going to show you the sleeve. It is of a naked male. You can't really see anything, but it has a censorship, so. Okay, it's this Won't You Step Inside was issued, I think, on EMI Columbia, but this was a Polydor issue, and it's a recording that mixes jazz rock with comedy and plain wildness. It's really it's from 1971, and it's really a child of its time, so to speak. Okay, when I was in Uppsala, I have just seen some news flashes about the death of the Swedish singer-songwriter Magnus Lindberg, mostly famous for being a member of the group Landslaget in the 70s, and the supergroup, the Swedish answer to Traveling Wilburys, Grymlings, in the early 90s. I had, of course, heard lots of that stuff. I hadn't heard any of his solo stuff though, and I didn't have any of his solo albums. But since since I saw it when I was there in Uppsala, it was the same day. I found his most famous, probably his most famous album, Röda Läppar from 1981. I thought, well, I should get it and have a listen, and it wasn't that expensive either. And it's really great musicians and some really great songs, and very good production. Yeah, produced by Magnus Lindberg and the EMI legendary producer Kjell Andersson. Yeah, so also I remember when I was at the record store, Open Minds in Uppsala, there was some older guys there, I mean older than me, that talked about Magnus Lindberg, and I talked about him. I don't know if he lived in Uppsala, I'm not sure, but they could have come from Stockholm as well. And one of them said, yeah, well, I saw him not that long ago and he looked really unhealthy. It was illness. Not sure. Well, I won't go into that. So, but still, it was a great shock and so on and so on. And they said, well, I didn't know him, but you could tell that he wasn't feeling that well. So, well, rest in peace, Magnus Lindberg. Great singer, great artist. Right, over to another record that I found in Uppsala, and it's the Swedish 1960s beat group The Hounds. They had some hits here in Sweden, and probably the most biggest or famous hit is their version of The Tokens, The Lion Sleeps Tonight. They even made an album called The Lion Sleeps Tonight on the Gazelle label. Looks like this. Most famous or member is Jan Önerud, who later would become Swedish dance band artist, and also some great vocalists like Lars Wallander and Henrik Salander from 1966, I think. Found it in great condition. Then finally, I thought I would show you the records that I found today. I haven't listened to any of them yet, but I will. Yeah. First album that I've been looking for quite some time, actually. I was happy to find it. It's a record with a Swedish artist, Swedish singer Nina Lisell, who was quite big in the 60s and 70s, and she was particularly popular in Germany, and still is. In Sweden she's a bit forgotten, but in Germany she was a great star, and as from I've heard, still seems to be very popular there. And this is a compilation album from 1971 with some of her German material. Tanzparty mit Nina Lisell, Dance Party with Nina Lisell, on the what's the name of the label again? Golden 12, that issued her records in Germany. I have her first single, German single, one of my favorite songs, Du geht vorbei, or in Swedish, Du går förbi. It's one of those songs that I can listen to I can listen to it over and over again. And another song that I didn't have on record that was a bit of a hit in Germany was Ein kleiner Teufel steckt in dir, and that song starts this album. So, very pretty singer, and a very strong, and very voice with its own character. She is also famous among the collectors of Lee Hazelwood, because she cooperated and sang some songs together with Lee Hazelwood in the Cowboy in Sweden project in 1970. Okay, then we have the Japanese band The Flowers. I found I think it's a French reissue of their album Challenge from 1968, 69. And again, a bit of nudity on the sleeve, but I think we can manage that. Well, Yuya Uchida, the producer and, well, the leader of the band. And we also have the female singer Remi Aso on this album, or in this group. The original is quite difficult to get hold of. The original was on Columbia, I think. This is, it's a French reissue on the Absinthe label, and a label that I've seen many interesting reissues from in latter years. So I haven't listened to those ones yet, so I don't have that much to say about it. It's more like a show and tell now. Okay, then we have another record with a Swedish artist, Jerry Williams, and this is an early one from 1966 called Action. It isn't. It is a later pressing though. This is from probably the late 70s or maybe early 80s. Because it has that kind of label, so it's not an old original, and that's probably why I managed to get hold of it in both in great condition and not that expensive, because the original Jerry Williams albums from the 60s, they are starting to get on a bit when it comes to prices. They start to get a bit expensive, because of course most people in the 60s bought singles and they didn't buy that many LPs, so not that strange. Okay. Back to Brasiliana, because as you know, I'm a great fan of Brazilian artists, and I found an album here with an artist or singer that I haven't heard of. I'm still exploring the world of Brazilian pop music, and it's a singer called Fafa de Belém. Sorry for the pronunciation if it's down the drains. It's a record that I think would pronounce it like something like Crencha or something. Sorry if that's wrong. From 1980. Seems she is an actress and singer from what I've been able to find out online. This is on Philips and it's from 1980. It was pressed in Rio de Janeiro, unless I'm mistaken. So we'll listen to that later. Oh yeah, some week ago or so, I just by accident I found a longer clip by an American girl band called Fanny, and first I was amazed. This clip was from 1971, 72 something. I was amazed. Wow, why have I never heard of Fanny? And they had a whole gig. It's 4 girls, guitar, bass, organ, and drums, and they played so tightly, so well. And well, it's led by the 2 Filipina American musicians, Gene and June Millington. June Millington, what a great guitar player, and also Alice de Burr, I think that's how we say it, on drums, and Nicky Barclay. Today I managed to find I think it's the 3rd or maybe 4th album, the last one before June Millington left anyway, and probably the last one worth checking out, unless I'm mistaken. Mother's Pride, it's on Reprise, and I feel that this is from 1972, 73. I feel that I have to find the others because they are so great. I listened to this clip with them playing different songs, I guess both their own songs and maybe songs written by other people. They made a really great version of Hey Bulldog, the Beatles' Hey Bulldog. That's not on this album though, but yeah, never mind. But I see they start the album by the Randy Newman, Last Night I Had a Dream. I will look forward to listen to that. So I'm smitten by this band, and also how is it possible that I have never heard of them until now? It's insane. It's truly insane. And then I started to read the other comments on that YouTube video, and so many said the same. Why haven't I heard about these ones? And then when I started reading, oh, the Runaways have talked about them as a great influence, and so has the Bangles, later girl band stars that are much more famous. And it seems like they were good friends with David Bowie. I think one of the members married one of the members in David Bowie's band. I'm not I can't exactly remember how it was, but I think one reason why they didn't become that super big back then was that they decided they wanted to go their own way, and they didn't always want to listen to the producers and record executives on how ladies shall be as stars in the pop business. And I lift my hat for that. That's something our stars of today, both males and females, should listen to. Don't listen to the people who claims that they know more about the business and try to change you to become the kind of artist that will be more popular or commercially successful, because you have to be yourself. That's when the music becomes really good. So I was happy that I found it. It wasn't that expensive. I think the earlier ones are a bit more pricey and maybe a bit more difficult to find. But I haven't been looking that actively for them yet. But if you haven't checked this band out on YouTube, there's a long clip where I think it's recorded in '71 or something, where they play a long gig, a 30-minute gig or so, in front of a blue screen. Nothing is cut out, so it's like raw material. Yeah, I'm very fond of this. Fanny, what a great band. Oh yes. Yeah, I think the last record I'm going to show you in this video, before it's way too long, we're going to end it the way we started it. And because today I found another Melba Moore album. This one. This is it from 1976. I thought it was from 77. Anyway, on the Buddha label. And I'm going to play that and listen to it and upload it to Instagram again to see if I have any reaction from her. So, well, thank you. That's it for now. Hope you found this somewhat enjoyable. And thank you for watching, and bye for now.